All right. Painting again, finally. It's been a while. Mostly because, life has been happening. So I might be making some changes to the schedule of when I stream my painting. Probably start doing it on Sundays because because most of the time when I'm doing something, when I'm having friends over or we're doing something, it tends to be on a Saturday. So it's probably just easier to move the painting over to like Sunday afternoon. That way I don't have to be worried about staying up too late. Because, that helps too. So, where we left off, almost finished this. The only thing really left to do would be to highlight the dirt over here. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty much done. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do after. What's the next thing I'm going to work on? I have this dude that I can do. And I'm not sure. I think I want to paint him in like Deathwing colors. So like bone colored armor. Kind of like my Terminators. Or I can work on this guy, which I do need to finish. And I'm contemplating, I need to fix that, contemplating using oil paints to do the shading. Because like the shading looks okay, but it could be better. And I haven't played around with oil paints in a while. So I don't know. We'll see when we get there. Do have to touch him up a little bit. And I'm not sure what color to do the rest of his fur. I do really want to darken this part down quite a bit. I think it's too bright. So I might coat it with a coat of a thin oil wash. And it has a matte finish, so the oil wash it's gonna spread a little bit. It's not going to actually all sink into the crevices, so I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But first, let's get this done, because this has been hanging on for way too long. And my second camera's not working for some reason. I don't know why. Probably have to reconfigure it. It's basically just a Raspberry Pi that I had set up as like a webcam. But for some reason it's not getting detected as a webcam anymore, so either gonna mess around and try to fix it at some point, or just get like a cheap webcam or something that I can use as a top down, but that can wait. So I think I'm just gonna dry brush the dirt. Dry brush it with the lighter brown with a teeny tiny dry brush. I just want to get like the higher points. So there's some sort of definition. Should switch this over. Hey man, thanks for joining. For some reason my chat's not coming up in my streaming software. Gosh darn it. But yeah, I've been having a pretty good weekend, I guess. How about you? How's your weekend been so far? There. And yeah, I am actually quite pleased with how this diorama is coming out. Just have to figure out what the next one's going to be, which I am not sure yet. Maybe I'll start working on some of the bigger models in the box. Maybe the Screamer Killer and the Dreadnought, maybe? Not sure though. Right now, I just want to get this one done so I can move on to something else for a little while. Nice. Yeah, it's always fun trying to try to organize your time around young ones. Luckily, my daughter's 11, so she's pretty much independent right now. 11 going on 16, basically. But yeah, when she was younger, sometimes it was a little bit hard to get time to do hobbies, play video games, stuff like that. Now we're at the point where sometimes she actually wants to play video games with me. think that's not bad. Can't see what it looks like in the camera though. Let me go check what's going on with this. It's logged in, so it should be working, but oh well. It is what it is. Should I go? Oh, actually there's still a little bit that I should try to hit. Yeah, it's pretty good. Right now, she's still in like Minecraft. We did play Terraria for a little while, and she liked that. I've just been having issues with my network, so I need to like reconfigure my network. For some reason, some of the computers don't talk to each other, and I need to figure out why. It's been causing issues for just playing games together and also 3D printing. Because for some reason, some of my printers, they connect to the network and I can see them on the router, but for some reason my computer can't communicate with them, which is a little bit annoying. So instead of just remotely starting prints, I have to put it on an SD card, bring it to the printer, start the print there. So I need to figure that out at some point. It's always something. There's always something that needs to be fixed or figured out. Wonder if I should go a tad bit lighter. Because there's no real lights on the inside except for the explosion, and they're not going to be on all the time. Let's test it, see how it looks. See if I can clean this off a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, dampen it up a little bit, not too much. Wipe it off so that we don't overdo it. And then we can do a little tickle. Just to get the very edges as much as possible. Yeah, I think that works. Want to be a little bit careful because I don't want to overpower it, but I think that's helping. Okay. I'll take this glass out. For some reason, no matter how much I try, I can never get this glass clean. I want to put it on so that it keeps dust out of the diorama, but it always looks dusty on the inside. But yeah, I think that's it. Move this over here. I think she's done. Just wanted to get that little bit of highlighting done, and then yeah. Cool. So what's next? I really should finish this, or at least work on it. So let's do that. And let's pull out oil paints for this. I need to fix that first. So pull out some oil paints to do some shading. See how that turns out. Should probably finish doing the ropes. Yeah. So before yeah, the frame actually got it at what do you call it? Secondhand store. My girlfriend and my daughter, they were at the secondhand store and they saw it, so they picked it up. So I figured it looks cool, so I'll use it. All I did was I primed it black and dry brushed some bronze and gold on it, and yeah, it turned out really well. So let's finish base coating, fix the goofs that I've done on this one, and then pull out the oil paints and have some fun with oil paints, because I haven't done that in a while. I think this brush will work. Yeah, should be fine. Actually, I might want a smaller one for this. Come on. New brushes that I haven't used. Well, I have, but this one in particular I don't think I've used yet. So let's see how this goes. Okay, we'll put you aside for now. I need to do the ropes on the arms. I haven't worked on this one so long, I don't even remember the mix that I used for the fabric, so if I mess something up, I'm gonna have to wing it. But if I'm just gonna cover it all in oil washes, it might actually not matter too much. This is a model from Witch Song Miniatures, actually, called, I think it's Lord of the Jungle. It's 3D printed. If you go to My Mini Factory and do a search for Witch Song Miniatures, that's where this model's from. I pay a subscription for them, and they release a new model every month. So that's where a bunch of my so far painted models came from. I've only recently got back into Warhammer. But yeah, it's printed in resin. And I've been working on it for far too long, so I need to get this one done too. And one of the kind of cool things of where I'm working is they display art from like the employees. So right now I have one of my figures that I painted on display at the office right now. It's kind of cool. So I want to get this one finished and put this one on display at the office also. Yeah, they do a lot of really, really cool miniatures. Well, I can't really call them miniatures because, you know, kind of a size difference. But I like these because, one, they're bigger, so sometimes they're a little bit easier to paint. And two, they're just really detailed and they're really, really nice. And I'm not paying a whole lot for the subscription. I'm paying for, I have a merchant's license with them, so I could sell these if I ever got to it. But it's only like $10 a month for me, because I've had the account for a while. They changed their prices recently, but I've had this account for a while, so they grandfathered me in. But yeah, they do really, really awesome miniatures or figures. Plus, I don't know if they do it for all of them, but for a lot of them, they'll put out some stats for Dungeons and Dragons, so you could use them as monsters in your Dungeons and Dragons games. If you do that kind of thing. I used to. But it just started to get too hard to get people together to play. Because, you know, adulting and all that. So trying to get everybody's schedules to align was getting to be a chore. So put that on hiatus for now. I may or may not get back to it, but we'll see. I have lots of hobbies that I'm working on right now. Some might say too many hobbies. Really liking these brushes. Like, why didn't I splurge on good brushes when I started painting? There, let that set for a little bit. Yeah, the bigger models can be intimidating. Um, when I started painting these, let's see, I used to get some from another company called Loot Studios. And this is one of them. Slightly smaller, but still bigger than your standard Warhammer 40k stuff, but still pretty dang good. Most of the techniques that you do for like a 40k miniature or something do apply to bigger models. How do I word this? So the same techniques do mostly apply. So you're trying to get your contrast and all that. Why is my chat paused? Anyway, but yeah, like you want to work on getting your contrast between the different materials and making your model readable. I think the biggest thing for me is it takes so much longer to paint stuff in this scale. Because like a 40k model, like one of these, to decently, like, I try not to paint, I don't paint to play, so I try to go a little bit of a higher standard when I'm painting. But I could generally do a Warhammer model in maybe a dozen hours. Not too like Golden Demon type quality, obviously, but a decent quality that I'm happy with. Whereas one of these takes me dozens and dozens and dozens of hours. And some of that's just down to me not being the fastest painter on the face of the earth and just taking my time with everything. But there's also all fiddly details. Even on a big figure like this, there's a lot of tiny details. Like there's all these little scratches. There's like all these buckles and stuff. Rivets. Like this one's not too bad. But if I look at something like this one, all these feathers, like this guy took me a long time to do. And he's full of dust. Yeah, I think this one took me 60 hours to do. So sometimes when you're working on the bigger figures, you're not getting that instant gratification, as it were. And I tend to not spend like a full day painting. Like when I paint, I'll paint for 2-3 hours. That's about as much as I can handle. Unless I'm working on something. Like I have some friends who had asked me to do some figures for them. And on those, like I could spend a whole day painting, just depending on what the timeline looks like. I have one friend who asks me to paint stuff on occasion and he just says, take however long you want. and sometimes it just takes, I think one model took me like a few months to get through to finish. Yeah, I hear you. Originally I started getting into Warhammer, God, early 2000, and I kind of went crazy on it. It was during the time that Games Workshop was still doing like army boxes, and I think the Tyranids had just gotten a refresh at the time. So I bought 2 Tyranid army boxes, my first time in the store, a whole bunch of paints. It was kind of insane. I got a couple of like individual models too, and most of the box just sat unassembled, unpainted for years. And then I decided to sell it, so I sold it, and then like I think it was a year after I sold it, the Leviathan box was announced. So I was like, god damn it. And I had already gotten back into painting figures. Like I was doing a lot of 3D printed figures. So I had all the paints and all the brushes and everything I needed. So I picked up the Leviathan box. And I've just been making dioramas with it. So I'll take a few models out, put them together, paint them, put them in a diorama, and then move on to the next thing. Probably should look into 3D printing another couple of figures though. Because after this one, I have this that I can work on. Have to sand it down a little bit, clean it up, but I want to use this to practice skin tones and non-metallic metal, because that's something that I'm not particularly good at. But I need to finish this one first. I have to stop starting a project, finishing it partway through, then starting another project, and keep bouncing back and forth from project to project. I need to finish it. Yeah, I find the Warhammer universe always finds a way to pull me back in. I got pulled back in, one, because of the Leviathan box, and also because they had just done a bunch of new model for the Dark Angels, when the whole lore brought Lionel Johnson back. Dark Angels is my favorite Space Marines army, and Tyranids were my favorite Xenos army. And Tyranids were the first army that I bought way back in the day. My buddy at the time, way back in 2000, he decided he wanted to go Tau because we were planning on playing. We only ever ended up playing 1 or 2 games, and figured we like putting the models together and painting more than we like playing, so now look at me streaming paints. Yeah, I don't know why Dark Angels have always been my favorite. I almost picked up Lionel Johnson the other day. I was at a Warhammer store nearby, but I didn't pick him up. I should though, at some point. This isn't really flowing the way I want it to. I think I might have thinned it a bit too much. Let's see. Well, it seems to be okay. I do kind of want to pick up a box of Horus Heresy. Mostly because I like the armor designs. Yeah, no, it is thinned out too much. But yeah, this is an expensive hobby. I have lots of other things I need to spend my money on, so buying Warhammer models is kind of low on the priority list. Especially since I have most of the Leviathan box that I need to put together and paint. And again, I'm trying to not start or buy projects until I'm finished the ones that I'm working on. Come on. Here. So tedious. Just trying to make sure I hit everything. Okay, those are gonna need another coat in a minute. Definitely gonna need to do 2 coats. Probably help if I kept this in frame, wouldn't it? It would help if I could see what was in frame. Let's bring this. Okay, can I? How the heck do I? Oh, that's how I do it. Okay. There we go. Stream preview. That'll help. Okay, where was I? It's right here. Can I move this? Ah, damn it. Sorry, I'm just trying to arrange it so that I can... Okay, that's a little bit better. There. Much, much better. Okay. More painting ropes. Such riveting content. Stitches too. It's funny, every time I look at it, I see more things that I need to paint. Am I ever gonna finish? Probably am at some point. It's too much water. Feels about right. There. Okay. There. Should probably not worry about making too much of a mess right now, so I'm gonna have to touch up anyway. As long as I'm still mostly careful. Nice. Hopefully I can get this to a point where I'm happy enough that I can start using the oil paints to shade it and, I don't know, maybe do some refinements on it. We'll see how this goes. Okay, let's be careful this part. Okay. It's nice having a paintbrush that doesn't have a hooked tip on it. But it would help if my aim was actually good. Okay, let's add a little bit of paint. There. Tiny bit of water. Yeah, those will look better once I do a second coat on them. At some point, I'd like to get a bigger resin printer. Most of the figures that I've been printing, they just keep getting bigger and bigger. So it'd be nice to have a printer that I can print the whole, like all the parts in one print. Because even for this guy, I think it was seven printer plates. It took me like 3 days to print the whole thing. So that might be next on my big splurge list is to upgrade my 3D printer. It's getting there. A little bit better. touching up's gonna be super fun, but oh well. It is what it is. Okay, move on to this one. Would help if I was in frame. Okay. Try to keep my head out of the shot. Yeah. Ow. Don't know if you heard that, but my wrist cracked. Joys of getting old. think for the stitches, I'll do them a little bit darker, just to differentiate them a little bit from the ropes. So I'm hoping that when I start playing around with the oil paints on this, that it'll look less flat. And I'm hoping that it'll be slightly easier than just doing it all with the acrylics, with my regular paints. But we'll see. I haven't played around with oil paints in a while, so I'm a little bit rusty. But the hope is to get a decent result faster than I'd get it with my regular paints. And easier, because it takes so long to dry. It makes it easier to get smooth blends and all that stuff. The downside is that it takes a while to dry. Although if I thin it down enough, it shouldn't be too bad, but still. But I want to get a decent looking base coat so that I'm already part of the way where I want it to be. Good. Okay, let's do a little bit of mixing here. Yeah, I think this might work. So, a drop or two of light umber. And a couple of drops of golden brown. Tiny bit of water. Perfect. Okay. Just try not to mess this up too much. Doesn't look different enough from the rest of the fabric. Interesting. So, how can we fix this? A couple of drops of ivory, maybe? Ouch. Or some pale yellow? No, let's do ivory. Ooh. Start with a drop. Okay, how does this look? A little bit better. Okay, this one has a lot of stitching. Gonna take probably another coat after this. Okay. Let's do a little bit of touching up. Let's do a little bit of the metallic, touch up the armor plates a little bit. And I just noticed I missed a couple of tiny little ropes. So let's go fix that. Okay. I think that's it for that. Let's do a little bit of metallic. Okay, I'm not going to use this one. Don't want to ruin my nice brushes. This one. Let's put a tiny bit of water in. A little bit more. Okay, let's start with this one. Oh, there's 2 more ropes there. God damn it. There. This one needs quite a bit touching up. Pretty good, pretty good. bad, not bad. Okay, before I do that, let's... Where did I put it? Yeah, that's the one. Let's do those little ropes. Right here. Come on. Okay, let that dry for a sec. Give these another light coat. Did it a little bit too much, but that's okay. Should be fine. All right. I think we've done enough for one afternoon. It's about all I can handle right now. But we did get this finished, which I'm happy with. I might hot glue the wires on the side here just to keep them out of the way, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. So that's done. And then got some more base coating done on this guy. Just a bunch of touching up that has to get done. And then working on some smaller details. Then I'm gonna try oil painting the rest to like highlight and shade and refine it. See how that goes as an experiment. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm going to try to raid someone else for the first time. Woo! Anyway, so give me a minute and I'll see if I can move this mouse. I either need a second mouse or an easier way to move this mouse from one to the other. Because, you know, it's a separate desk than my computer. Okay, so let's see. Let's go and see who's painting stuff right now. Where's my Chrome window? Over here. Okay, let me just where's oh, there it is. Okay. Let's look for somebody doing painting. don't know. Never done this, so this is taking me a while to figure out. Who looks interesting right now? This looks interesting. So let's do that. Go here, go here. Let's see if this works. Okay, let me pause the music so I can actually hear what the heck's going on.
So that is six in here. So bottom one is radio, that's all radio bytes.